Coronation Street fans are convinced a recent scene featuring Betsy Swain contained a subtle hint about the dramatic storyline she's about to face. Fresh spoilers reveal that Ryan rushes to call an ambulance after finding Betsy unconscious on the kitchen floor at number 6. At the hospital, doctors carry out an MRI scan, but the situation becomes even more alarming when Betsy suddenly suffers a seizure, leaving Dylan under suspicion. While the spoilers do not suggest that Betsy dies, they confirm she will receive a diagnosis that is set to change her life in a significant way. Earlier in the episode, Betsy enjoyed a peaceful afternoon with Lauren Bolton and Lauren's young son, Frankie, as they spent time together on the swings. During their conversation, the topic turned to Betsy's plans to move to London and begin studying fashion. Lauren admitted that both she and Frankie would miss having Auntie Betsy around once she left. As the discussion continued, Betsy confessed that the reality of leaving Weatherfield was finally beginning to hit her. She admitted feeling anxious about the workload ahead and questioned whether she would still have enough time to spend with Dylan. Lauren encouraged her not to worry so much about the future and instead treasure the moments they still had together. Trying to lighten the mood, Betsy laughed that Lauren was making it sound as though she was facing a death sentence. Lauren simply smiled and advised her to take life one day at a time. The conversation immediately caught the attention of viewers, many of whom felt the dialogue was a clear piece of foreshadowing for the frightening events soon to unfold. As Betsy's condition worsens, Lisa is left terrified while she waits alongside Carla for updates from the medical team at the hospital. The drama escalates when Lisa becomes convinced that Dylan played a role in Betsy's collapse. Overcome with anger and fear, she confronts him, leaving Dylan completely shocked by the accusations. Even though Betsy insists Dylan is innocent and begs her mother to stop blaming him, Lisa refuses to back down. Determined to hold someone accountable, she decides to report Dylan to the police, setting the stage for even more turmoil. Coronation Street newcomer Ross threatens Cassie in new showdown. Ross Wilkes reveals a far more intimidating side of himself in Coronation Street next week when he issues a threatening warning to Cassie Plummer. Tyrone Dobbs' long-lost father makes it clear he won't tolerate anyone interfering in his life after confronting Cassie over her attempts to sabotage his growing romance with Tracy Barlow. As Ross and Tracy continue getting closer, Cassie becomes increasingly uneasy. Certain that Ross is hiding his true colors, she tries to convince Tracy that she should be careful and not place her trust in him. However, her plan quickly backfires. Ross confronts Cassie at the Dobbs house and angrily accuses her of trying to poison Tracy against him, leading to a tense and emotional showdown. The confrontation is cut short when Tyrone steps in, but instead of defending his mother, he sides with Ross. Believing Cassie is unfairly stirring up trouble, Tyrone asks her to leave, leaving her devastated by his decision. With no one willing to support her, Cassie walks away heartbroken, while Ross takes advantage of the situation to strengthen his relationship with Tyrone. Seeing an opportunity to win his son over, Ross offers to help Tyrone learn more about his family history. The gesture appears genuine, and Tyrone is soon impressed by his father's kindness, unaware that Ross may have hidden motives. Cassie is convinced Ross's arrival has undone everything she fought to rebuild. After years of regret, failed relationships, and painful attempts to earn forgiveness, she had finally begun repairing her bond with Tyrone and felt accepted by those around her. Now she fears that sense of stability is slipping away once again. In Cassie's eyes, Ross has deliberately manipulated Tyrone from the moment they met. She believes he has carefully earned his son's confidence, while quietly driving a wedge between Tyrone and the people who truly love him. Every conversation they share only strengthens Cassie's belief that Ross is pulling the strings behind the scenes. Although Ross comes across as warm, friendly, and supportive, Cassie refuses to be fooled by his charm. She believes the pleasant exterior is nothing more than a disguise, hiding a far more calculating and dangerous personality. While everyone else sees a father trying to reconnect with his son, Cassie is convinced Ross is controlling the situation for his own benefit. Cassie's worries go far beyond Tyrone. She believes Ross is hiding dangerous secrets that could have devastating consequences for Steve McDonald and several other residents if they were exposed. After working hard to rebuild her reputation and regain the trust of those around her, Cassie fears Ross's growing influence could destroy everything she has achieved. With her family relationships and fresh start hanging in the balance, she is terrified that all her progress could soon be lost. Coronation Street reveals Sarah's bombshell confession in Proposal episode. Kit Green is left completely shocked in Coronation Street after Sarah Platt reveals a confession he never imagined he would hear. The ITV soap has unveiled a first look at a heartbreaking scene that changes the course of Sarah's murder storyline forever. After carrying the burden of Theo Silverton's death for weeks, Sarah reaches her breaking point. Unable to cope with the guilt any longer, she decides it's finally time to tell Kit the truth about what happened. When Sarah returns to the flat, she is greeted by an unexpected romantic surprise. Hoping to take their relationship to the next level, Kit tells Sarah how much she means to him before dropping to one knee and asking her to marry him. Rather than celebrating the proposal, Sarah is overcome with emotion. Realizing she can no longer keep such a devastating secret, she tearfully admits that she was responsible for Theo's death. The confession leaves Kit stunned into silence, and the future they had been planning together is suddenly thrown into uncertainty. Viewers know that Kit has spent weeks trying to identify Theo's killer. Throughout the investigation, he has been convinced that Gary Windass was responsible, unaware that Gary's suspicious behavior was simply the result of helping Sarah cover up the truth. Although Kit has now been removed from the investigation, the case continues to dominate his thoughts. No longer able to influence events from inside the inquiry, he finds himself caught between his responsibilities as a police officer and his determination to protect the woman he loves. Sarah desperately hopes Kit's feelings for her will outweigh his sense of duty. She believes he may choose to shield her from the consequences, even if that means allowing suspicion to remain focused on Gary. Knowing Kit has never trusted Gary, she fears he could find it easier to let the blame stay where it is rather than expose her confession. The impossible situation forces Kit to choose between the law and the person he wants to spend his life with. At the same time, Sarah is haunted by the possibility that the truth could send her to prison. The prospect terrifies her, as she fears she would be unable to cope with life behind bars. She worries she could become vulnerable to other inmates, especially if they learned that she is in a relationship with a serving police officer, making the consequences of her confession even more frightening.